2019. What a year. How a year could be simultaneously the hardest and the greatest year of my life is something that I've been trying to figure out for a long time. Over the course of the last several months debating this topic with myself, I've finally come to a conclusion. This year was not the greatest year of my life in spite of it being the hardest, a paradox begging explanation, but rather, this year has been the greatest year of my life because it was the hardest. This is the story you were never told. One year ago today, I prepared to step into an unknown future. I had just gotten back a week earlier from an 8-day trip to Washington, D.C. and Gatlinburg, Tennessee. A trip that would ultimately cost me over $3,000 as I paid for 4-star hotels and fancy meals for myself and 3 of my closest friends. It was without a doubt the happiest and most rewarding week I had experienced in a long time. But on the drive back home, somewhere in southern Georgia on I-75, I had a feeling I know all too well. The dread of returning home. Because you see, all was not right in my life at the time. I'm gonna spare the details for now, I'll explain one day. But simply put, I was not excited to go home. I was incredibly happy to be seeing my friends, and especially my father again. The best part of the entire trip was probably running up to him and hugging him after missing him for so long. But I had a feeling I was leaving the life I belonged in for one which was not yet what it ought to have been. Fast forward a few weeks to New Year's Eve 2018, and I stood at a critical decision point. One path would lead me to the life I live today, and the other path, well, there was no other path. It was a precipice that would lead to the destruction of everything I had built and all of my dreams along with it. Although every single force in my life seemed to drag me towards that dark path from which there would be no return, I had one thing going for me. I had a dream. And it wasn't gonna die. I had a dream of building a massive business for the sake of helping people through charity. I had a dream of building influence on YouTube and being able to share my story in hopes of inspiring others. I had a dream of saving my friends and family from the financial terrors which they faced. 3 of my closest friends became homeless this year, and not one of them wound up on the streets, due in large part to my actions. But you guys were never told that. Although in January and February I was left with $2,000 in my name, a breaking down vehicle, mountains of bills to pay, a deteriorating state of mental health, panic attacks, depression, anxiety, and a feeling of downright abject terror. You guys were never told that. Despite in May, when my grandmother died, my truck broke down, one of my best friends was kicked to the curb by a sociopath, lunatic, murderous father who threatened to kill me. I had to say goodbye to one of my closest friends, drama at home. You guys never knew that. In September, after waiting a decade for someone to say it, someone finally told me they loved me, and 2 days later they told me they didn't mean anything by it. And I had a mental breakdown resulting from nearly 2 decades of trauma, but you guys were never told that. And a video went out, just as it always does, the very next day. Why am I telling you all this? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but the main one is because I want to teach you guys something that I had to learn the hard way over the last 2 years of building this channel from absolutely nothing. I was not handed success. I did not grow up with wealth. I was not born ambitious, but I built those things out of the resources that I had. And looking back on the trials I have been through, I realized why I finally started down the path of success for which I had been fighting for so long. It was not because I had it easy. It was because it was hard. Because you see, resilience is not a natural trait. Humans by their very nature are lazy, slothful creatures who balk at a challenge. We would rather do nothing, accept our condition, or even allow it to deteriorate beyond the point of repair because we don't want to try and do anything to fix it. It takes resilience to wake up every day, live the life I lived, and put out these videos and put a smile on for these videos every single day. You know, there's a reason I never told you guys about my life until I decided to go all in with a face reveal. It's because I don't have a pedigree like most of the analysts that you watch here on YouTube. I don't have 10 years of experience, millions in Bitcoin, a multi-million-dollar mansion, brand deals, supercars, etc. I don't have all of that, nor do I even really care about most of it. But there is one thing that blows all of that out of the water. I have a story to tell. The year of 2020 is going to be an incredible year, and the way that I'm able to say that with such certainty and confidence is because despite everything that I just told you, 2019 was the greatest year of my life. I moved into a $250,000 3-bedroom house. I got to go on amazing trips to Tennessee, Colorado, Nevada, Alabama. I flew thousands of miles, made hundreds of memories, dozens of new friends, saved many of my friends that were in free fall. I saw the Nevada desert. I charged the back gate of Area 51. I climbed Snicktaw Mountain and saw silver clouds below. I walked across the Hoover Dam. I ran a 7-minute mile across Miami International Airport. I reunited with family that I hadn't seen in a decade. And most importantly of all, I can finally say that after 2 years of uncertainty, anxiety, blood, sweat, tear, and outright abject, downright terror, I've made it. Me, Taylor, who's editing this video, all of you watching this video, We have made it. 2019's over and we're all still alive. The future looks bright. I can finally tell that the light at the end of the tunnel, in fact, is not a train. It is really the sunlight, and it is coming. If you're in a position right now where you feel that the future is uncertain, that you can't continue like this, that 2020 needs to be your year, then you listen and you listen good. For those of you who need to hear this, swallow your pride for a second and take it from a 19-year-old who's been through more than most people that are 3 times my age will ever go through. Resilience is the key to everything. It'll unlock your wildest dreams if you just trust yourself enough to continue down the path which you know is good for you. It'll liberate you from your darkest places. It'll be the conduit by which your aspirations are brought to fruition. But you must never quit. Trust me, once this video is over and you're left feeling pumped, that feeling is going to fade. Tomorrow you're going to go back to exactly the life you're living today, and you're not going to remember this feeling that you hopefully have right now. So I want you to take one thing from this video and one thing only. The word resilience. If you ever feel like giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel because it's too hard, because it can't be done, because there's no point anymore, remember this video. Remember my story. Remember the stories of those who stared hell in the face, turned their back on it, worked like hell, and grew into some of the greatest names that our culture remembers. Remember that billions of people around the world and throughout history have it harder than you do and still manage to find happiness. Remember that any dream, watered, cultivated, and nurtured for long enough, has a pretty good chance of growing into reality. And as always, guys, I want to thank each and every single last one of you for a great 2019, for saving my life, and for watching as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.